To the webinar today. I am Marie Wiese. I'm going to formally introduce myself in a second. I'm here with Anil Shah. This is a webinar being co-presented by Marketing Copilot and CloudFronts, and it's the AI Innovation Roadmap for Sales and Marketing. And I am so excited about this content. I can't wait to get started. We see people joining us today and jumping onto the webinar, and I really appreciate you being here. I just have one very simple housekeeping announcement. Two. I'm going to say two housekeeping announcements. First and foremost, you will be receiving a recording of the session afterwards. And we have Kevin, Priyesh, and Vibhuti from CloudFronts as the chat moderators on the webinar today to answer any questions that you might have as we're going through this. I know Anil's going to be showing some exciting stuff, and I can't wait to see it. And I know that you're going to have questions about it. So when you do, please make sure that the moderators see your questions in the chat, and they will be more than happy to jump in and give you some great responses. So let's kick it off. My name is Marie Wiese. If you don't know me, I'm the CEO of Marketing Copilot. I'm a Microsoft MVP in AI, and I harness AI-powered and human strategized marketing and sales to help Microsoft partners and customers stand out and outsell the competition. I have been doing this for about 30 years now, and the last 10 years in the Microsoft channel, I've seen a lot of change, and I feel like this is a brave new world, and I know Anil agrees with me. Anil, take a second and introduce yourself.
Hi, Marie. Hi, everyone. Marie, you said you've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing it for a little bit less, about 20 years. But I've spent all that time in the Microsoft partner ecosystem, helping companies modernize themselves and deploy Dynamics business applications. And look, I'm here today to talk about how companies can get AI ready so that they can have connected systems with their Dynamics 365 systems and get more value out of these systems.
Absolutely, and we're gonna talk about that. So today we're going to discuss a few things that are AI related, and I just want to take a minute and say this is not your typical AI presentation. This is not here's what you can do with Copilot. And I will take a moment and say, for those people who don't know our company, Marketing Copilot is a registered trademark and has been since 2011. So I don't want you to think we're bandwagoners, but definitely it was interesting when Microsoft adopted the Copilot brand for AI, and it was something we've been working on for quite a while. And so we took a step back this year and realized that there's a real AI curiosity gap. And we're going to talk about what that curiosity gap is, but that's how we're going to approach this, not so much about the technology, although we're going to show you some cool things you can do. We want to talk a little bit about what's happening with human beings and how we're looking at this, and how people are needing to not just talk about AI. They need to actually show how it's going to work. We're going to talk a little bit about Copilot and what you might be able to do with it, how Microsoft works here, and how we supercharge sales and marketing. So let's jump right in and get to it. We looked at a small business report earlier this year. We're seeing that 62% of non-adopters are saying they just don't understand the benefits of AI. They don't understand how to adopt it. And even organizations that have started to bring in Copilot or other tools, there's still a gap between what the product is doing for people from a business perspective and how users are using it. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. 72% of AI adopters report that integration and usage are their biggest challenges. And I know, Anil, you've been seeing that out in the marketplace. 12% of small businesses say they have a very negative feeling toward AI. And I've just come off a series of roadshows in the last couple of months, attending user groups. And I have to say, that seems to be the hidden story that nobody's talking about. Human beings still have a very negative view of AI. And I think it's our job as leaders in the channel to really start to talk about that, not just about the technology, but to talk about it. What we know is that customers are overwhelmed by the AI hype. It's everywhere. every single content conference we've been at, and I know, Anil, we've attended quite a few together, we're seeing 95% of the content is about AI. People want to explore it. They don't know where to start. And they don't feel that there's trusted guides yet. These trusted guides haven't bubbled to the top because Microsoft themselves spent most of 2024 and the beginning of 2025 selling licenses, selling technology. And people need to be trusted guides on this journey because this is a change like one we've never seen before. And as I said, I've been in tech for 30 years and Neil's been in tech for 20 years. We've seen a lot of changes come and go.
Yeah.
And this is not the same old change in the tech sector. This is a fundamental change in how we're going to work going forward.
Yes.
So we talk about the AI curiosity gap. We believe it's real, that there's people interested in AI, but there's, on the other side, an understanding of how it works and how it delivers. But the biggest section right in that middle is this growing disconnect of, I don't really know what it's going to do for me. I don't know how I'm going to reinvent my business. I don't know how I'm going to fix problems in my business using it. We're all talking about AI, but I think when you get right down to brass tacks, very few of us know what the heck we're doing with it. And so what we want to say to people on the call today, and those leaders out in the community and people in organizations trying to figure out what to do with it, your window of opportunity is right now. Your window of opportunity is to seize that gap in the middle and really figure out how you can turn the hype into clarity and results. And I think that's what everyone's looking for. In sales, we see a real interesting curiosity gap. And people want to know, how does AI help us sell more, provide better service, become more efficient? And I could be wrong about this, Anil, but wouldn't you agree that as we're trying to deploy AI, which is something that goes across the organization, we have to break down those silos. We have to break down that thinking that, well, I'm just going to apply this over here to sales, or I'm just going to apply this over here to my customer service or help desk. I think the first thing we have to figure out is how to address it across the organization. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. It's a good place to start because you're looking at specific problems, whether usually things start with sales. Once you have sales coming in, you can justify value of any technology, right? That's how we came into the cloud with Salesforce.com. It's Salesforce. But while you get those ideas and you see its value, you look at it from an organization standpoint because transformation happens at the organizational level when everybody's connected together. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about data and how everybody needs to be relying on consistent, good data. But if we look at a quick little marketing history lesson, the term curiosity gap originally comes from digital media and click psychology. And I'm not a fan of click psychology, but boy, does it work. And have we gone down a rabbit hole in the last few years with click psychology. And it's that tension that occurs when a person is given just enough information to spark interest and not enough to fully answer a question. When I was growing up as a kid, we used to call it trash at the cache because all the tabloid newspapers and magazines would be at the cache. And they were geniuses at this idea of a headline that would get you to pick up the magazine and hopefully buy it. And that's where clickbait came from, this idea that we're going to click on something that interests us. And I think that what we have to do is start to figure out how we use that to close the curiosity gap. And, I think saying things like the one thing most Microsoft partners miss about Copilot, or you'll never believe what we were able to do with this. That's how you're going to get people into the conversation and to close that curiosity gap. So we need more than clickbait and empty headlines. The AI curiosity gap is real. We need real knowledge. We need real action. And this is what I'm going to be helping to bring to you today, because I think CloudFronts and the work that Anil's doing at CloudFronts has done an exceptional job of showing real things. So don't just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. And so it's really important as we think about what it means to become AI first companies. And it's not just about layering AI in. I remember, way back when we were building websites and B2B businesses were starting to build websites, and I've built hundreds and hundreds of websites throughout my career. And I remember the original idea was, we'll just take the corporate brochure that the company has and we'll put it online as a website. And so we think what we were doing offline could be translated online. And I think this is where we're stumbling a little bit with AI, because we think, well, we'll just take what we're doing right now and figure out where we can use AI. That's not a bad place to start, but that's not the way you need to approach it. And it's not the way you need to think. And it means that you really need to lead with AI in discovery conversations, embedding AI in the way you deliver value, understanding the business case. The other thing that I heard yesterday at a user conference was, it's not just about the business case, which we might then evolve into the use case. It's the test case. It's the deployment case of how we're going to start to figure out that there is a new way to work. But to quote Anil, I'm going to use your quote, which is, it's not magic.
It's not magic at all.
It's not magic. There's a plan that has to go behind it. So what does it mean to be an AI first partner?
Look, I'll go back a little bit in history. I've spent 2 decades in the Microsoft partner ecosystem. My first 10 years were taking a CD into a client's data center and deploying that software on-prem. When I started CloudFronts, we became a cloud-first partner. We wanted to get value faster. So we realized that if it's in the cloud, then there is no infrastructure to deploy. So you can get value faster, your efficiencies, etc., faster. That meant for us to become a cloud-first partner for small and mid-market companies. Today, I see the same opportunity with AI. Companies can get more value out of their business applications investments by figuring out how to leverage AI, figuring out their ideas for AI, deploying some things, learning from their mistakes, and we want to help customers get there. So really, it's the same ethos. It was cloud first, and before and today it is AI first. It is taking that journey forward for small and mid-market companies to get the most value out of their Dynamics 365 and other business applications by leveraging AI.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's leading in that thought process to say, how can we do it? So take us through these points here about what it means to be AI ready.
Look, these are some sort of ways to think about how an organization can be AI ready. Number one is to really understand and sit down and ideate some use cases within your organization. It's very hard to get started because you might not have good ideas, or you might think you don't have ideas. But when you sit down as a team, you will be surprised that you will have good ideas. And those become your use cases. They could be small, they could be large, but collect your use cases. Research online a little bit, maybe attend some conferences, events to see what others are doing to get ideas. Look at specific agents or copilots that really benefit your business, and maybe look at those videos, look at those demos to understand how they could fit your use cases. Most importantly, all of the AI relies on good, clean data from connected systems. So look at the state of your data and the state of your connected systems. That leads itself to the security question that must be answered in today's environment, where every organization needs to figure out their security landscape before they expose that data to AI. So make sure that is answered and you're compliant, I guess. And yeah, look at your CRM, marketing automation tools, and see how all of that fits in. And if it doesn't, then you'll have to look at those and see if you need to make any changes there. So from use cases to systems, look at and data in between. These are some guidelines to start getting AI ready.
Absolutely. So we think that AI, it needs to be a shift in mindset first and foremost. And we're moving from people who are AI agnostic. We don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait for our employees to ask about it. We just see it as a tech feature. to AI curious. Now people are starting to explore it. People are starting to use it. What we understand, especially with younger employees, is people are using it in your organization, whether you realize it or not. It's there. To really being AI first, which is leading with AI as a business driver, guiding strategy and innovation, and seeing AI as a competitive advantage. And I think that's where you want to get to as a business. And I've said this publicly out loud, is that companies that aren't getting there likely won't be here in 5 years, because it is a significant competitive advantage when it's harnessed the right way. And I think that that's really important for people to be thinking about.
True.
AI first business leaders really need to be thinking about technology implementation, because they've always got their minds on data and security and all those things that are now a huge component of businesses today. They're thinking about their business strategy. They might be thinking around how they've moved to the cloud and where things are running in the cloud. But really what they need right there in the middle is a translator and guide. They need somebody who can embed AI use cases, that can offer assessments and really help adopt with confidence. What would you add here, Anil, about if you're going to look for that translator and guide, what do you look for? Who do people need?
I'll actually give a real world example. One of our customers that are mid-market manufacturing companies, a company out of Europe, multiple manufacturing setups in different countries. We've been working with them for many years to connect all of their systems and get their data ready. Recently, we've started talking in the last few months about AI adoption. And one of the things they are doing is forming an AI governance board, or an AI board within the company. That's a collection of people from the ICT or IT and CIO side of the business, and from the business side, your data scientists and some business users, collectively to explore this. And it's a good way to get past the anxiety and not have the worry that you have to figure out one answer by one person. And maybe that is one thing companies could do. It could be a board of two, three people, 2 people if you're a small company. It could be 5 people. I think 3 to 5 is always a good number. Larger is too many cooks. I would say that I found that really valuable to form an AI board.
I that's a great point. And what I've noticed just being out and about in the user group community over the last couple months is AI governance is another topic that is not getting talked about as much as it should, and people are trying to figure out their own roadmaps. So anybody on the call today who has a really solid AI governance program or strategy or blueprint, please share if you're willing to do so, because I'm finding that's a gap as well. So if we have customers on the call today, it'd be great for you to put your questions in the chat. Don't forget, we have moderators who are here to respond. But what should customers be asking their partners and Microsoft about AI? What should they be? What questions should they be broaching?
Look, I'll talk about from our own experience from our customers. We've done some AI roadshows for our customers, small and mid-market companies, across different, predominantly North America, but in some other places as well. And it has helped us to be in front of them and talk about, AI. First of all, so the partner has to do some things first. And what then happens is the customer is able to ideate better. So they need to ask their partners, hey, I'm curious about AI. Could we just sit down and talk about it? Do you have some ideas? Have you already started doing some work towards it? So ask about their experience, maybe already starting to work with some partners, or starting to work with some customers on their own as partners. If they have any use cases already in the relevant industry that the customers are in today. And from a Microsoft angle, they could understand licensing. It's always a key question, but beyond licensing, they could focus more again on, hey, there is, let's say, for example, Copilot for sales. Exactly what does it do? And maybe get some demos. All of this leads you towards a better ideation to get you started. So,
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think those are great points. Just take us through this, though, specifically. What does it mean to be data ready?
Again, I'll go back in history without giving away my age. When I started about 20 years ago in this industry, my first job was a data integration engineer. And I was at a data event in San Francisco a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting with one data strategy leader, and we were having a wonderful conversation around what's a data integration engineer and what's a data scientist, what are parts of the orgs they report into, and um, it was interesting that how data is becoming even more relevant, but has always been relevant, but today because of AI, it's even becoming more relevant. So I would say that to be AI ready is really to, have your data ready first. Um, and it's a few questions again to get you thinking about what does it mean to be data ready. Number one, are my applications connected? Meaning, from sales to billing, do people have access to the data they need to do their job without having to go get it from their desk, which literally people still do today, and ask for information. Is that data reliable, clean, etc., in the respective systems that I have access to them as a user? Um, do I have policies, processes in place to keep this data secure? And do those definitions exist? This is part of data governance, which will lead to AI governance. And just, I see reports. Do I trust the data I have in my reports, for example? And these are real questions you can ask. And finally, this is it's a bit technical, but do I have data about my data defined? Um, it's basically your metadata, or is there
Right.
an understanding of all of this? And all of this leads to, if you have these questions answered well, and even if you start writing them down, you will see that whenever you have AI conversations, they will come to fruition faster with reliable, for example, agents or copilots, because these things are there. And if these are not there, you invest your time and effort in getting your data ready.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. So I think, to close the gap between curiosity and understanding, a very simple place to start is by putting Copilot into Office. And that's where a lot of us started. But
Yes.
I think, it's not just about getting a license and seeing if people are using it. I think it creates a door opener within your company to have a conversation about how we're using this. One of the biggest eye openers for me as I started using Copilot about a year ago is it's learning and it's evolving. And now it's really helping me from a sales perspective as I'm gathering my notes, going to look for information. Sometimes that gathering of information is limited because it's searching my own data. And I know you're going to take a minute and talk about how brilliant Smart Pitch AI is and what you've developed and why you developed it. But it really is a good place to start, not just to onboard licenses, but to go ask employees, is this helping you or not? Where does it help you? How does it help you? And to have those conversations, because we can't get from curiosity to understanding if we don't have some middle ground and a place to start. So I think Copilot and what Microsoft's doing today is really trying to show people that you can test your business processes, you can train your data, and more importantly, you can start to identify your roadmap. And I think that's a really good place for people to be. So when you talk to a customer, Anil, how do you help that customer create a blueprint for AI?
This is a very good question. It is also an evolving question for us. Um, when we are working with our customers, we've done some AI roadshows. We are already developing some agents, including for ourselves and for our customers. But this is becoming an important question from customers that, hey, we don't want to develop a lot of agents and then have all of this repository of agents and not know how to manage them. How do we have a reliable blueprint so that we can have reusability? We know kind of what we are developing, have control over it, so on and so forth. In order for us to work with our customers for that, we follow a similar conversation we've done with whenever we've deployed Dynamics, whenever we've connected systems. Today, it's an evolution of that. Um, in order to create an AI blueprint, we sit down and say, look, first we look at your systems. Are they well connected? And we analyze the sort of the data readiness for those customers. And then we understand from them where they would like to take their AI, both from a small, the siloed use cases. I want to help sales, I want to help marketing, or I want to help my um, production folks or inventory team better, to an organization level, use of AI and governance. And look, customers have already been doing it because they have systems like Dynamics or some of the business applications. So they have some of these things in place. But by clarifying these questions, we kind of get to a blueprint of, hey, these are the things we need to do for you to deploy reliable AI that can be leveraged consistently, have higher user adoption, and know where the technology is headed, because it is, we must all accept that it's a fast evolving but not evolved technology.
Right. So I'm going to use an example for marketing. This example could be used for sales. In the yellow box, we want to really identify a single problem. We're not trying to boil the ocean here. What's the single problem? And so we're going to use the example that you might, as an organization, want to increase the volume of new customers. So however your methodology or your business process is working around that today, and at Marketing Copilot, we have a methodology that we've tested over the last 20 years, and you'll see it down there in the light blue box at the bottom. These are the components that we put together. And those components found the basis of what we're going to do to get out to the marketplace to find those new customers. Every organization has customer knowledge and data. Whether they're using it in a really proactive way or not, that's something that you can sit down and talk with an organization like Anil about, because he can show you how to get your data ready, but you have it. And our own organization, and this is the story I told, 4 years ago, I lost all my data. I had a managed service provider who was supposed to be doing a laptop as a managed service, including backing everything up, and they lost all my data. And it was actually a very inspirational moment for me, because I was angry. That's not what you want to have happen as a business, lose your data. But it was almost like cleaning your house and moving into a new one, because you realized I have to do this completely differently. Now, I hope for all of you on the call today, you don't have this horrible moment where something bad really happens to you. And this is why you start to think about these things. But and years ago, I used to sell financial services software, and the person who I worked with always used to say to me, nobody's buying software unless something's burning down. Something bad has to be happening for somebody to say, I'm going to go through the pain and effort to change. That aside, we are looking today at different ways to manage our data. And Neil's already pointed that out, the way we have to think about our data. We have sales and marketing processes in our organization. Maybe we haven't documented them. Maybe they're not as good as they should be. It doesn't matter. It's a starting point. And we have people, and we have tools. I know in our marketing team alone, we have 20 different tools that we use to manage an outbound and inbound marketing program. So we've got all this. It's important to create your blueprint to say, what do we have? Where are we starting? And to say, what delivery and results are we looking for? We often don't start with the end result in mind. We scramble to fix something because we think it's broken, but we don't say, what result do we really want here? Every organization can do that. So those orangey colored boxes are the organization layering in their information. Now, as we think about how we want to solve that problem of increasing volume of new customers, we know we want faster, more reliable execution, better return on investment. We want better sales outcomes. And that's where tools like Marketing Copilot AI and what we have really come into play. And that's where tools like Smart Pitch AI really come into play. And we're going to look at that in a second. So here's how we've envisioned a blueprint from a marketing perspective. It could easily be used for a sales perspective. It could easily be used for a customer service perspective. But the idea is that you're mapping your own internal methodology, if you have one, or an external one you're using. You're mapping what you have, what you want the outcome to be, and where you're going to supercharge something with AI. We've just launched a new guide called AI-powered websites, and we think the whole way that websites have been built in the last 20 years is broken. It's old. It's outdated. So we've done a bunch of research on where the future is going. Please snap this QR code and please download this guide. It's got some really interesting goodies in it about how you might want to move forward with your next website build, or how you want to think about your website going forward. Because let's face it, as business to business companies today, there's very few digital properties that we own, that we can control, that we can manage. It's not like being in LinkedIn where somebody else owns the platform, or paying for PPC where somebody else owns the algorithm. Your website is what you can control. It's where you can drive traffic. It's what you can do. So we think there's a new way to approach it and a new way to think about it. So without further ado, I've hyped this product up. I love this product. Anil, jump in and tell the story of Smart Pitch AI and what it's doing for the broader community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marie. Look, you previously in our webinar, we talked about what could customers be asking their partners. And while we were talking about all this, I realized, well, partners, they could be asking partners, how are you using your AI within your company? Because then you can know if the partner is adopting AI. Smart Pitch AI really came out of our own need for helping our salespeople do better when they are talking to a prospect for the first time, and have their first call really make an impact, do a qualification, and move forward to better closure rates. Because they were not able to get all of that information on their own, or they didn't have access to it. And so solution was, we said, you know what, we have data across our different systems. Why don't we create an agent that the sales guy can talk to wherever they are, and leverage that to be ready for that first call, to make the right impression, ask the right questions, and improve your qualification towards better deal wins. If you go to the next slide, so great. So Smart Pitch AI really is a combination of information from different systems. So I'll quickly talk about that. Dataverse is basically our CRM platform where we store all the customer and opportunity information. SharePoint is where we store a lot of our content, our SOPs for sales, our case studies, or our presentations, etc. And then the World Wide Web and our website, which is a repository of both our case studies and information about our customers. We feed all of that into our sales Copilot agent, and then that gives us our Smart Pitch. So with that, I would like to do a quick demo of how this
jump right in. Let's see it. And don't forget, if you have questions, you can pop those in the chat. And we've got Kevin, Priyesh, and Vibhuti from CloudFronts available to answer your questions. So do use the chat and get right in there. Are you able to share your screen, Anil? Yeah, great.
Yes, I am getting there.
There it is. We got it. We got you.
So I am going to put this. Go ahead and I'm in my teams. The agent is deployed inside of our own team. So this is actually a live conversation. So I'm a sales guy. I want to get some information about relevant customers in one of my prospects industry, and get some of those case studies, and maybe have a document ready so I can have good conversation on my first call. So I'm going to say hi to the agent, and it's going to ask me, hey, Anil, what do you want to do? You want to do a content search? You want to do an MQL SQL conversation and get all of that information on the customer? I'm going to say yes. It's going to ask me for some information, so I'm going to put the name, some company name here. Okay, and I'm going to say I want to do Dynamics 365 sales implementation. That's what they're looking for. Yep. And I'm going to say, look, let's go ahead and submit that information to the agent. What it's going to do first is it's going to go out and get some information about the customer. Are they an influencer, decision maker, the size of the company, what they do, etc. And then if all of that is good, then it's going to go ahead and give me the relevant information from our website, from our Dynamics, from our SharePoint, etc. So I'm going to let this run for a second. And it's using Azure OpenAI today, some aspects of Copilot as well. And so it says, look, this is a company. Everything looks great. This is correct. I've got their LinkedIn information, their company website, and I can see that the person is a decision maker and an influencer. I'm going to say, you know what, all of this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and proceed to their MQL SQL. And what this is going to do is going to say, look, I'm now going to give you some relevant case studies, and within that industry or within that geography. So for example, it says, look, this customer of yours, they've implemented Dynamics 365 Sales with you. They are in Houston. They are a casting manufacturer. And if I click on this, actually going to take me to the case study link on our website, which is great. So now I have some reference of actual customers. And maybe this customer is, within a couple of hours of this customer. And we can say, look, if they are a referenceable customer, the sales guy can ask them to go and talk to that particular customer. It gave me some more information, and it says, look, you know what? Now I'm going to prepare your cheat sheet or your PDF. And I, as a sales guy, could use that on my call. So I'm going to just go and let this prepare my document for me. And as soon as it's done preparing, I'm going to review it. And I'm ready for the call. It took me to, less than 2 minutes. And I'm going to talk a little bit more after I'm done. And so here's my MQL SQL. And that gets me ready for my first call. And
fantastic. I love this.
really
And
my
as a
demo.
salesperson, the power of this, because let's be honest, what would we normally have done? We would have spent, 2 or 3 hours doing research as a salesperson, and you just in 2 minutes did the work. I don't have to go look for stuff in Teams. I don't have to go chase anything down. It's really awesome, the power of what Smart Pitch is doing. So great demo. Thank you. I love that. If there's salespeople on the call today, please do ask questions. And even if you're not in sales, I think you'll agree that these are the kinds of things where we can add an unbelievable amount of value within our organization. Marketing Copilot has built a formula, a heuristic, over the last 2 years as we've been doing research with over 30 tech companies and surveyed about 150 business leaders to find out what really drives new revenue and new sales. So imagine that you've applied this formula of really understanding your buyer persona, being able to go out in the market and create content and talk about the buying triggers, driving them to a trivial touch point. Now you've created an SQL. And you've created an SQL for the sales team, and maybe they have experience with that person or the company within that SQL. Now the salesperson can go use Smart Pitch AI and start to figure out what they need to know. And they can map it back to what the marketing team is doing to see how many times has that person, interacted with us as a business. So our growth formula, we've now shown the things you need to build that demand generation program and where AI works. So this is the second QR code of the day. Please take a minute, download the QR code. There's my good friend Chevy Chase telling us there'd be no math, but there is a formula here. And there is a way to put the formula together if you're trying to drive growth. And, AI powered, where you can insert AI powered augmentation to really ramp it up. And we're going to be talking about Smart Pitch a lot more in the coming months because we think Smart Pitch is an important integration into this growth formula. It's a really important way to not only see what you know about a company to prep a salesperson, but now to understand how to create the right content for buyer persona to find more of those good leads that you want in your organization. Be the first to access CloudFronts Data Ready Blueprint. They're going to be launching it in July. Get an advanced copy or sign up to get an advanced copy. We're going to be getting people into the loop on this. So please snap that QR code and sign up to get that Data Ready Blueprint. As we talked about earlier in the webinar, having a blueprint is really important. And knowing where to start is really important. So CloudFronts is going to be releasing that Data Ready Blueprint fairly soon. Thank you so much for attending today. And if we've got questions, hopefully you've been asking them in the chat, and hopefully we can get people, talking, ideating, discussing where you might want to go with this. And Anil, thank you so much. And thank you to the team at CloudFronts for all the important innovation that you're doing in the area of sales and marketing. This is, an obvious place to start with AI, but don't take it lightly. We tell our clients, don't just start using AI to write random content. Really think through how it's going to augment your strategy. And, we always tell people, if you don't have a strategy, you better get one, because you don't want to scale up something that's not going to work, right? True. So you really do need that strategy to start. Thanks, everyone, for attending today. Any last closing comments, Anil?
Look, AI ready means data ready. Invest time now, get past the fears, and finally, AI is not magic. You guys all have experience deploying systems, getting them live, connecting systems, etc. So that we have to put effort. First steps are hard. Best time to get started, get some conversations going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. And as always, please reach out if you have questions going forward. We're here for you. And we hope that your AI journey is a good one. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, guys.